There are 53 fully evolved bug types in Pokemon, plus it's bug month. I'm going to rank all of these bugs right now in a competitive singles context. At the very bottom of the list is unfortunately Ledian. Ledian is a very unfortunate creature. I have a lot of sympathy for Ledian. He was told growing up that he was a puncher and that he punched things. They even gave him boxing gloves, and yet the developers didn't give Ledian an attack stat with which to punch anything. It only has a 35 attack stat. It was fed a lie, and now it is reaping the consequences of this lie. Many theorize that in development, Ledian had its attack and special defense stats swapped by accident, because it would make sense for Ledian to have a high attack due to its move pool being full of physical attacks. And it doesn't really make any sense that it would have a high special defense. I don't believe anything about Ledian suggests that it can defend against magic and witchcraft or anything like that. So this was some sort of error, many believe. And as a result of this error, Ledian is sort of just useless. It has an extraordinarily low attack, a bunch of physical moves that can't be used, and although its special defense is actually good, how does a bug flying type operate as a special wall, really? Especially with such low HP and a terrible defensive typing of bug flying, which is wide open to fire and ice and electric type attacks, some of the most common special attacking types. Ledian is a completely dysfunctional Pokemon that is sort of just a comedic joke of a Pokemon. The best this guy can do is set Light Screen and Reflect for your team to support allies. But these are common moves that are on many other things that are better than Ledian. You can lead a bug to boxing gloves, folks, but you cannot make it punch. And honestly, if you're Ledian this Pokemon anywhere, it's probably directly into the bin. Up next we have Beautifly. The most noteworthy thing about Beautifly is that it has a proboscis nose that spirals towards itself, signaling its spiral into depression and madness at the fact that it has never done anything in a competitive context. Beautifly is absolutely awful. Another bug flying type. There are many of these, and most of them are bad, but Beautifly is even particularly atrocious in the bug flying type category, which is saying a lot. Its stats do nothing. It's not fast. It's not defensively any good. It's got a 100 special attack. They buffed its special attack in Gen 6, at least, from 90 to 100. But that's not even very noteworthy either. I put it above Ledian because it has Quiver Dance, which is a good move. It can boost up with Quiver Dance. But to find a Quiver Dance with Beautifly is like finding a needle in a haystack. What hit can this live? How does it switch onto the field and achieve anything? This guy doesn't even get Sleep Powder, which would at least allow it to do something, or maybe set up a Quiver Dance. It's got the ability Swam, which is so useless on it. Truly. It would prefer anything else in the world. Its other ability is Rivalry. Extra damage against opposite gender, a bad ability that rarely comes up. Beautifly is nothing. In my world, it doesn't even exist. Up next, we have Wormadam Daniel, the base form of Wormadam, who is really not worth a damn. Yes, I will make that joke every time, and you cannot stop me. Wormadam is a bug grass type Pokemon, a dreadful type combination which is ×4 weak against fire and flying, and it is weak against many other things as well. Wormadam has little to offer. Does this even get Sticky Web? No. It kind of has nothing. Wormadam has Stab Leaf Storm, I suppose. It has Stab Signal Beam, and a special defense stat of 105. I'm really struggling to come up with anything that Wormadam has going for it. Is this guy even worse than Beautifly? I don't know. Beautifly is very bad. At least this gets Overcoat, I suppose, for sand immunity. He also sort of looks like a little gnome in the grass, which I appreciate. So I'd give it bonus points for that. Wormadam Daniel would look nice living in my garden. So that makes it better than Beautifly. I also feel a bit bad for him, so I will give him the prestigious respect of 3rd worst bug type of all time, rather than 2nd worst. Up next we have Dustox. Dustox is absolutely awful, with some of the worst stats on a fully evolved Pokemon ever. Very similar to Beautiflies, they are cousins I believe. But Dustox is a bit better than Wormadam and Beautifly and Ledian, I think, because at least it is a poison type which has some defensive merit. It is immune to being poisoned. Can you believe it? An incredible boon. Dustox can also remove toxic spikes from the field and equip the important item Black Sludge. Also, Dustox gets the healing option of Roost, and it gets Defog for hazard removal. This is utility. Plus it gets U-turn to pivot out. So in low tiers, I guess in ZU, this can be a utility guy, whereas I think Beautyfly is not even good in ZU, and neither is Wormadam. But Dustox, however, with its incredible 90 special defense, can be a frightening special wall. Oh, also, did I mention that it has Shield Dust, which grants an immunity to secondary effective moves. Actual ability with merit rather than, what does Beautyfly get? Swam, which is just useless. Shield Dust might help you by preventing you from getting frozen or something. Very good. Up next we have Beedrill, an absolute icon of the bug type, one of the most recognizable bug types ever due to its Gen 1 status. However, it's very bad. It is slow and frail and not very powerful offensively with a mere 90 base attack. Its ability Swarm is difficult to activate and not very good in modern Pokemon either, with much better offensive abilities existing these days. However, Beedrill does have Toxic Spikes, which can achieve value, an entry hazard that poisons opponents upon switching into the field. That is useful. Beedrill can sort of be like Dustox in lower tiers, but with an actual attack stat too, to hit a bit harder with U-turn and poison jab. And instead of having defog, it has Toxic Spikes. To be or not to be is the ultimate question, and Beedrill answers this with its sheer fighting spirit. Even though it's not very good, it would rather exist than fade into irrelevance. Beedrill accepts the cards it was dealt and makes the best of them. Very admirable. Up next is Vespiquen, the Queen Bee, a Pokemon that looks cool and looks like it would be powerful, but is not at all. Vespiquen is designed as a defensive bug flying type, which is a concept that simply doesn't work due to all of the shortcomings of this typing defensively. Smart idea, Game Freak. Make a defensive Pokemon that is bad defensively. Vespiquen doesn't even have great stats. 102 in the defenses, I suppose, is pretty good for a bug. But it's really nothing special in the grand scheme, and the terrible shortcomings of the bug flag typing makes it difficult to take advantage of. Vespiquen has Pressure, which can be an okay ability defensively, causing the enemy to consume twice as much PP when executing moves. But Vespiquen does not really stick around long enough to get much use out of this ability. This teaches us that being born into a royal family does not mean that you are any good in combat. Up next we got Wormadam Sandy. Wormadam Sandy is a bit better than the bad bugs mentioned so far, for the simple reason that it has a ground typing, which gives it the benefit of electric immunity and thunder wave immunity, as well as cancelling out rock weakness and making you neutral to rock. The typing is actually not bad, due to ground being so good, and overcoming many of the downsides of bug typing single-handedly. Wormadam Sandy is actually the only fully evolved bug ground type in the whole game. On top of that, Wormadam Sandy also gets Stealth Rock, which is an entry hazard that is very good, and it means Wormadam Sandy can achieve things in a battle. Making Stealth Rock has an impact. But of course, Wormadam Sandy can't be that good due to its poor stats, which are very low and unimpressive, and a real detriment. This makes Wormadam Sandy pretty bad overall. Also, its ability is useless, Overcoat, since it's already immune to sand. I guess it could get Hail immunity and a Powder Move immunity, but feels like diminishing returns. The ability Anticipation is its other option, which reveals if the enemy has a super effective attack in their moveset. On switch in, kind of interesting, a bit of scouting, but overall not very good. I would prefer something more useful. Up next is Parasect, and don't get me wrong folks, Parasect is very bad. Some of you might be screaming at me for putting this above some of the already mentioned bugs. It has many shortcomings. Bug grass typing obviously atrocious, for reasons we've established. Its stats are very bad, especially that base 30 speed. But Parasect does have access to one of the best moves in the game, Spore, which is a 100% accurate sleep-inflicting move. In fact, Parasect is the first Pokemon to ever get Spore, making him a bit of a celebrity. Smeargle is a big fan. Spore is good, even though it's difficult to land the Spore due to your terrible defensive typing and low speed. You still have Spore. You also have Knock Off to remove an item, and you have Dry Skin for some water immunity, meaning you can possibly hit the field against certain things. Does this guy get Sticky Web? No. That would be too powerful, of course. We can't allow Parasect to get sticky web. Don't be ridiculous. We don't want to buff him to Ubers. No, Parasect's very bad, but at least it has some good utility options of Spore and Knockoff and a type immunity. While many of these previously mentioned bugs have useless abilities, a type immunity is actually useful. Up next we have Wormadam Treasure. The actual name for this Pokemon is Wormadam Trash, but I'm going to try and change that. I think it's a bit rude to call the Pokemon trash. Plus, one person's trash is another's treasure, and all that. This Wormadam is ironically the least trash of all the Wormadams, which is why I treasure it. Wormadam Treasure has a Bug-Steel type combination, which is actually one of the best type combinations in the game. These types are very complementary. Bug erases the fighting and ground weaknesses of Steel, and results in a typing that is only weak to one type, Fire. So despite Wormadam Treasure having worse stats than the other Wormadams, it is worth more of a damn than them, and it is more treasured, due to its typing that is actually good. Plus it also gets Stealth Rock. It can kind of be like Forretress if it was far worse, which is more than can be said for many other bugs. So Wormadam, congratulations. You are somebody. Today you are somebody. Up next is Rabska. Rabska is interesting. It's a new Gen 9 guy, a new bug psychic type, and one of the only Pokemon that gets the new move Revival Blessing. It's this fella and Pormot that get Revival Blessing, which is a move that can revive a fainted ally to 50% HP. Rabska gets Revival Blessing and also Trick Room, which can make for an interesting combination. You can Trick Room to reverse the speed order, then revive a fainted ally that is slow but powerful, and achieve some value with the Rabska. So I would at least give Rabska some points for being unique with its tool set. However, this is a bug psychic type in Gen 9, an absolutely atrocious type combo. Its bulk is not good enough to survive and actually set a Trick Room much of the time. It's extraordinarily slow. You might think that's good for Trick Room, but setting the Trick Room is the problem. Its ability Synchronize at least achieves value sometimes, mirroring a status ailment against the opponent if struck by one, but in the Gen 9 world, not very strong, not very good. Rabska in practice is actually pretty terrible. Trick Room is actually better than ever in Gen 9 singles, but the key to a good Trick Room setter is that you're bulky enough to tank a hit, or you have some momentum, like Cresselia, who can live a hit and then Luna Dance out, or Mimikyu, who has the disguise to shield itself from a hit and set Trick Room. Rabska just dies too easily, horrendous typing, and Revival Blessing is also awkward on Trick Room due to the fact that you are spending a precious Trick Room turn to revive a guy, and then I suppose you switch to them and they have to survive, even though they're at half health, which means they're unlikely to survive. It's actually just quite anti-synergistic and not very good. So Rabska is a poor Trick Room setter, a poor Cleric and Reviver, and a poor Pokemon overall. Up next is Mothim. Happy Mothim Monday, everybody. It's a wonderful occasion. Mothim is kind of like Beautyfly, in the fact that it's a bug flying type with very bad stats. However, Mothim actually has a very good ability. The ability Tinted Lens is a great offensive ability, meaning you will do double damage to targets that resist your moves, effectively erasing the resistance. This actually makes Bug a good offensive type because you can spam it and even resistances will take a lot of damage. Now, of course, Mothim still has unimpressive stats, a measly 94 special attack and very low speed, but it does have Quiver Dance. It's difficult for to set up a Quiver Dance due to its poor defenses, but if it does, it can perhaps sweep in a lower tier due to its access to Tinted Lens, which enhances it offensively. It's like a better version of Beautyfly, basically, which is not saying very much, but it's still the truth. Up next is Volbeat. Volbeat is a mono bug type with poor stats. It would seem to be the worst bug so far, except for the fact that its ability is extremely good. It has Prankster, which grants priority to non-attacking moves. And this means Volbeat can achieve things. It can inflict Thunder Wave with priority on it. It can activate Rain Dance for rain teams in lower tiers where there are no weather-setting abilities available. It has Encore with priority on it. And it can even heal with priority using Roost. I believe there are even more options for Volbeat to take advantage of. Among Prankster users, of course, there are better, bulkier ones with more to offer, but this is still decent utility. When it comes to utility bug types, this one is difficult to Volbeat. Now, Volbeat's sister Illumise is next on the list. They are pretty much identical, both with Prankster and many of the same moves. I believe the only difference is that Illumise has a slightly higher special attack, whereas Volbeat has a higher physical attack. So really they're tied, in essence, but I'm putting Illumise above Volbeat because I prefer the color purple, and Illumise has a purple color scheme, which I believe to be superior. Up next we have Orb Beetle. A very popular orb-based beetle, very revolutionary Pokemon. Orb Beetle actually has pretty good stats for a bug. Its base speed is 90. It's actually a usable speed. Its defenses are high, 110 defense, 120 special defense. 60 HP is not the best, but offset by the high defenses. And a special attack of 80. This stat line could be good. Unfortunately though, Orb Beetle has a truly atrocious typing of Bug Psychic. These are not very complementary and are weak to a lot of very common things. You would almost rather be a mono bug. Amazingly, I don't think the psychic typing is doing you any favors. But at least it gives you stab stored power. And Orb Beetle can run this interesting set with agility and iron defense to stack up boosts for stored power and then also utilize body press to be a weird mixed sweeper. Equipping a weakness policy is also smart because you're weak to so many things, therefore this weakness policy will activate often. I don't know why they keep giving bug types no good abilities. This has Frisk, which scouts the enemy's item. Can you give this, even if you give this Magic Guard or something, it's not going to be very good. But at least it would be noteworthy. Can we give Orb Beetle more than Frisk, for goodness sake, and Swarm? Give it something. Give it something better than what it has. They've really failed Orb Beetle. Up next is Crustle, who is pretty funny. He's a guy with a big slab of earth on his back, a big cube on him. He's a bug rock type. Crustle is interesting because it is a Shell Smash user. Shell Smash, an extremely powerful boosting move that grants +2 attack, special attack, and speed at the cost of -1 defense and special defense. And Crustle also has the ability Sturdy, allowing it to live any hit from full HP, and if the hit were to one-hit KO, it will survive with at least 1 HP. This is a safety net that allows it to get the Shell Smash freely without worrying about being defeated. So that's pretty good. It also has powerful stab options and the complementary Earthquake, always useful on a physical attacker. So Crustle has some stuff going on. 105 attack is also decent for a bug type. Many previously mentioned bug types would yearn for a 105 attack stat. Now, unfortunately, Crustle does suffer greatly from its poor speed of only 45. Even with a Shell Smash boost, it's going to be pretty slow, and probably outsped by any old Choice Scarf Pokemon. Perhaps even just a regular old Pokemon could outrun Crustle. It's also pretty easy to wall with any generic old physical wall that tends to resist all of these types, rock, bug, and ground. So it's not going to be doing anything in OU. We can temper our expectations, Crustle. You're not that powerful. But this is certainly a cut above many previously mentioned bugs, with actual offensive merit and an ability to pose a threat and be a win condition. Very impressive stuff from Crustle. Up next is Kricketune. Kricketune would be perhaps the worst bug on this list if we were going based off its typing and its stats, which are atrocious. Mono bug is very bad, and these stats are complete nothingness. However, Kricketune is punching well above its weight here, due to the simple fact that it can learn the move Sticky Web. I think that Sticky Web is such a good move that it puts it above every bug type mentioned so far. Sticky Web is an entry hazard that is near exclusive to bug types. I believe the only non-bug that can get this move is Slurpuff. Mostly only bug types, and it's one of their greatest assets, because it is an entry hazard that lowers the speed of grounded foes every single time they switch in. This is an outstanding move for offensive strategies, allowing you to outrun opponents more often, enhance the offensive potency of slower Pokemon, win speed ties, etc. You can build hyper offense teams specifically around Sticky Web and do very well with that. Kricketune is the worst Sticky Web user, I would say. It's extremely bad, but it has Sticky Web. So if you just chuck a Focus Sash on this and select Sticky Web on turn 1, it will at least achieve pretty good value purely off that. And that alone. So there you go, Kricketune. Thank you. Up next is Spidops. It is very controversial to many to put Spidops above Cricketoon. Spidops would seem even worse with its bug typing and a lower speed of 35 and atrocious stats, but Spidops has sticky web. And Spidops has other things. Cricketoon only has sticky web, but Spidops has sticky web plus more. Spidops has spikes, another entry hazard that's good. Toxic spikes, that's also good. And Spidops has the move First Impression, which is a priority move with 90 power. So there is a chance that Spidops could set sticky web and do more than that due to these other options it has. It probably won't, but there's a chance that it could do more than Cricketoon. So it's a bit better than Cricketoon. Spidops is also a funny Pokemon. He's a spider agent. He's an operative, and he's spinning a web. And this is the web of deceit, I think, that he is spinning. A very good Pokemon when it comes to espionage and scheming. Not very good at battling, but at least he can set sticky web to put the opponent into a bit of a trap and aid its allies. Very, very forward-thinking Pokemon. Up next we have Ariados, a critically acclaimed spider. This guy also has sticky web, but it has a poison typing, meaning it is immune to being poisoned, which can possibly be useful in a lead situation when attempting to set sticky web. Also it gets T-Spikes. It can possibly remove T-Spikes by switching in. That's further potential utility it could achieve over the pathetic Cricketoon and Spidops. And I guess the move Toxic Thread, which can inflict poison and then lower enemy speed. You can utilize this sometimes to win a 1v1 against a defog user, as they slowly die to the poison and are slower than you, also unable to prevent your sticky web from being set. We also must of course mention every time Ariados comes up that it does have a niche in Gen 4 Ubers, the height of its career, due to the fact that as a lead it can sort of respond to Darkrai and Deoxys at the same time. Darkrai cannot inflict sleep against Ariados due to its ability Insomnia, so Ariados can safely set Toxic Spikes against Darkrai. With bug typing and a stab bug type attack, Ariados can also threaten both Darkrai and Deoxys for decent damage. The tactical excellence of Ariados is extremely impressive. Up next we got Livani. Livani is interesting. This is a bug grass type Pokemon, one of the worst type combos in the game. Livani has some slightly better stats than many other bugs, with a 103 attack and a 92 speed most notably, and decent bulk as well. Livani also gets Sticky Web, which is noteworthy and a good tool to have, of course, as we've established. One of the best and most powerful entry hazards. It is a scarce option. And Livani sets itself apart from other Sticky Web setters thanks to its ability Chlorophyll, which grants double speed in the sun. Not too long ago there was a Gen 9 OU team that I made a video specifically about, where Livani was used for its roll compression of setting Sticky Web and also being a Chlorophyll sweeper, with its Stab Leaf Storm that actually hits pretty hard, Low Kick to hit King Gambit in Gen 9 OU, and Triple Axle to hit Dragonite and Gliscor. This is beautiful for Dragonite because it breaks their multi-scale and then hits them with further damage, thanks to the triple multi-hit. This makes quick work of Gliscor also. Plus, Livani has the Eject Pack equipped on this set, allowing it to pivot when its stats are lowered, off of Leaf Storm, which lowers its special attacks. You can hit them with a big move and then pivot out for a spot of momentum. Pretty smart set here that was actually good on that particular team. Overall, Livani, of course, pretty bad, poor typing, and there are overall better Sticky Web setters, but you gotta give credit to Livani for having some merit in that particular context. Up next we've got Frostmoth, who I am perhaps overrating. It is a very bad Pokemon. Frostmoth has perhaps the worst type combination ever, Ice Bug. Truly atrocious defensive typing. It is slow, it's kind of frail, especially on the physical defense side. But Frostmoth has the excellent ability Ice Scales, actually one of the strongest abilities in the whole game, meaning the Frostmoth will take half damage from all special attacks. Frostmoth also has Quiver Dance, which is very good. And with Quiver Dance plus that special bulk from Ice Scales, as well as actually having a very good Stab Ice Beam, Frostmoth can actually be a pretty decent Quiver Dance sweeper, in lower tiers at least. Frostmoth also has the utility of defog, which is useful. Frostmoth is in the prestigious PUBL tier in Gen 9, which is a cut above many other bugs. Frostmoth has also been used in a Gen 9 OU team. It's a Pokemon that is pretty enhanced by Terra, allowing it to overcome its typing. And that was a Terra Electric Frostmoth on an electric terrain team, pretty novel. With Terra Blast Electric and Stab Ice Beam, you have a very good coverage combination. Obviously a terrible Pokemon in many regards, and all of its advantages do not make up for the dreadful defense and typing. But still, I would give Frostmoth some slight respect here. I also appreciate the design of it, quite a beautiful visual, and at least they're trying something unique with the Ice Bug typing and this powerful ability. Up next is Butterfree. I am certainly overrating Butterfree here. Butterfree, I'm putting pretty high. It is another bug flying type that is overall bad. Terrible stats. But Butterfree has the excellent combination of Sleep Powder to inflict sleep against the enemy, and the ability Compound Eyes, which increases its accuracy, meaning that Sleep Powder is almost perfectly accurate. So it's basically like having Spore. The move Hurricane also benefits from Compound Eyes, having an increased accuracy. And Butterfree gets Quiver Dance. So it can inflict sleep and then use that turn of inaction from the opponent to set up its Quiver Dance and do stuff. For this reason, it's actually viable in the Anything Goes tier, which is the highest tier in competitive Pokemon, where there are no rules whatsoever. And the reason it's good there is because AG has no sleep clause. So you can just keep sleeping things with no counterplay other than insomnia and such, but the built-in counterplay of sleep clause is not there, meaning that this has high potential. And because Quiver Dance also increases your speed, you can often outrun things and continuously put them to sleep, boosting yourself up and achieving incredible value. I would also like to shout out Butterfree for having a niche in Gen 3 OU as a Pokemon with an accurate sleep move due to the Compound Eyes Sleep Powder combination, as well as item removal from Thief, and accurate paralysis spreading with Stun Spore, which also benefits from Compound Eyes. Butterfree is the only Pokemon with all these three things at the same time. Up next is Masquerain, who is a bug flying type, with Sticky Web. And that's why I've put it pretty high, because Sticky Web's really good. And Masquerain also has Intimidate to achieve value as soon as it switches in, by lowering the enemy's attack, making it a better Sticky Web setter than anything mentioned so far. Also, it gets Quiver Dance. So it has three things that are sort of good. Everything else about it is terrible, of course. It's low stats and poor bug flying typing. But it can intimidate the enemy, set Sticky Web, and it has Quiver Dance. Plus it has a decent special attack of 100, actually higher than many of the bugs mentioned thus far. It does not have a sleep inflicting move though, I believe. No sleep powder or anything smart like that. But it does have Hydro Pump randomly as a special attacking option. Very good. For a while, I believe Masquerain was actually the only Sticky Web setting option in Gen 9 OU before DLC came out and brought Rabombi and other such things to the game. So people were running Sticky Web Masquerain on those teams, and that was fun. So a little bit of OU viability Masquerain for lack of anything better. It shows the value of Sticky Web. Even Masquerain can be viable if there's nothing else that sets Sticky Web. How humorous. Up next is Vivillon, who is basically a better version of Butterfree. It has the same bug flying typing, the same ability Compound Eyes, and the same tools with Sleep Powder, Quiver Dance, and Hurricane, except for the fact that Vivillon is a bit faster than Butterfree, making it better. It also has various different patterns that it can achieve, such as the wonderful yellowy red pattern that looks like a sun across the horizon. Very beautiful. That's Vivillon Ocean version right there. This also makes it better than Butterfree. Up next is Pinsir. Pinsir is kind of interesting, a Gen 1 bug. It is a mono bug with a very good attack stat of 125 and quite an impressive physical move pool too, with such options as Close Combat, Knockoff, and Stone Edge, and even Stab X Scissor. Pinsir also has the ability Moxie, which is a good offensive ability, granting an attack boost if you KO another Pokemon with an attack. All three of its abilities are quite good, actually. Hyper Cutter prevents your stats, or specifically your attack, from being lowered, giving you some insurance against Intimidate, and Mold Breaker ignores enemy abilities, allowing you to hit through Levitate with Earthquake, for example. And you do have Earthquake as well, another point in your favor for the physical attack department. Now, Pinsir unfortunately suffers from its poor offensive typing of a mere mono bug, and its low speed of only 85. It's pretty bad compared to most other physical attackers ever, but it is still fairly functional, I suppose. It's a pretty good Pokemon in mid-tiers of past gens. It is ZU in Gen 9, but so is, like, Snorlax, so that's okay. Gen 9 is a very, very competitive environment where many things that were once good are now ZU. I would give Pinsir some respect. It's got a decent natural bulk of 100 base defense as well. Good move pool, good offensive stat, good offensive abilities. It's bad, but you could do much worse than this as well. Up next is Vikavolt. Vikavolt is cool. Electronic bug electric typing. Vikavolt has the great ability Levitate, granting ground immunity and spike immunity, etc. Vikavolt is a sticky web setter, which is always nice. Fantastic utility, of course, as we've established. And Vikavolt has more to offer too, with an incredible 145 special attack. That's a massive special attack stat, near legendary level. So Vikavolt can set sticky web, it has stab volt switch off the back of an extraordinary special attack, and it even has levitation for some immunities. This is fairly good. Unfortunately, Vikavolt suffers greatly from its poor speed stat of only 43. This is a very bad speed stat that does leave it open to the many super effective attacks that threaten it. Its bulk is also not that good considering. It only has 90 defense and 75 special defense, 77 HP. Considering how slow it is, it would prefer to have superior bulk to this, but that's just life, isn't it, Vikavolt? Should have been faster, should have been better. Still, it can set sticky web and do some damage, which is more than can be said for many. More than can be said for me. I do not set sticky web, I do not deal any damage. I have very poor offensive stats, and I cannot create webs. So I am less valued than Vikavolt is on the battlefield. Up next is Golisopod, who is kind of an awesome Pokemon visually, standing upright, a powerful bug bionicle sort of guy. Golisopod is a bug water type Pokemon, which is pretty uncommon. Golisopod has excellent stats actually, with a great 125 attack and a fantastic 140 defense. Pretty good HP too, with 75. It even has decent special defense of 90. Also, its move pool is quite good. First Impression it has. This is the first Pokemon that ever got First Impression, in fact. The excellent bug-type priority move. They can only be used in the first turn, but has an excellent power of 90, far above average for a priority attack. Gets Leech Life, which is great bug stab with a draining effect. It gets Knockoff and Liquidation for water stab as well. The problem with Golisopod, though, and the reason it's not much higher, is due to its ability Emergency Exit, which is a very awkward ability. If you are hit below half of your maximum HP, you will be forced to switch out. Now, sometimes this can be good if you want to pivot out, tank a hit and pivot like a eject button, but sometimes it's very annoying because you switch in on Golisopod, you tank a hit, and then you don't get to strike back. Your turn gets interrupted and you're forced to switch whether you want to or not. That's the problem with it, is that it forces your hand. If not for this ability, Golisopod would be much better, but it's sort of a detriment due to the fact that it cancels this guy's turn much of the time. I'll give some respect to the design department for Golisopod though. A striking visual, an uncommon typing, and a pretty unique mechanic and stat spread. Certainly a Pokemon that stands out among the crowd, we can't deny that. Up next is Escavalier, who I think is really cool. A lance-fighting medieval warrior bug. Another bug steel type, which is a great combo. One of the best type combos in the game. Escavalier also has pretty good stats. 105 in the defenses and a very high 135 attack, plus a solid 70 HP. So it can actually take good advantage of this solid typing it has with proper defensive stats. The typing and stats are the main advantages of Escavalier, but it does suffer from not having very good abilities. Shell armor is kind of unexciting, immunity to crits. It doesn't really take good advantage of this. This ability is mostly good on defensive boosters, which Escavalier is not. Swam, kind of boring. Every bug type in the world gets this, and it's just not great. And then there's Overcoat for powder immunity and hail immunity, which is better than nothing, but overall unexciting as well. So not a great ability. Also, it's slow and it kind of lacks good utility. It doesn't have Stealth Rock, or spikes or anything like that, or rapid spin. The main thing this guy's going to do is attack the opponent when it switches in, which is kind of easy to defend against. This Cavalier is destroyed by just about any half-decent physical wall. It can at least click knock off, which is a good move, but you need a bit more than that, I think, to be a higher tier Pokemon. This Cavalier is outclassed still by other bug steel types, but it's a reasonably respectable Pokemon in early gen mid tiers, with good stats and typing. Up next is Centiskorch, who I love design-wise. A visually beautiful flaming centipede. They're calling it an auspicious Pokemon. Centiskorch is a fire bug type with the ability Flash Fire for a fire immunity and a power boost on fire type attacks if struck by one. Actually pretty good combo. This was released in Gen 8 alongside the boots, so it can cover its ×4 rock weakness that way, and Flash Fire prevents a massive source of neutral damage from affecting it, making Centiskorch feel much better defensively than it would seem with such a typing. Centiskorch also has access to the move Fire Lash, which is a great move with 80 power and a 100% chance to lower defense, making it a bit of a wall breaker, especially if it has the Flash Fire boost. Its stats are also decent. Has a high attack of 115, some okay HP of 100. Its defense is not the best, only 65, but 90 special defense is workable. It's got a pretty good physical move pool with knockoff and power whip and stab leech life. Now, of course, Centiskorch is not that great. It's pretty bad, actually. Firebug, still a pretty debilitating typing. It's a bit slow for a physical attacker as well, with only 65 speed. And by Gen 8, by the point of Gen 8, 115 attack is not that much either. So there's much stacked against Centiskorch. I would give it respect for the unique factor and being surprisingly decent for what it is. Up next is Venomoth, who I'm actually giving a lot of respect here, because I found out Venomoth is viable in UU in many generations, which is surprising. Despite seeming really bad, being yet another bug poison type with bad stats, Venomoth is a pretty good Quiver sweeper. This is due to the fact that it has Tinted Lens, which we've established is a great offensive ability. And it's better at using Tinted Lens than something like Mothim due to its much higher 90 base speed and access to Sleep Powder to put the enemy to sleep. 90 speed with Sleep Powder is actually pretty serviceable. You outrun a lot of stuff. And then you get the free turn to Quiver Dance, and then you are that much more threatening with Quiver Dance due to the fact that you have Tinted Lens to double your damage against resisted enemies. Plus you have Stab Sludge Bomb, which is very good. So Venomoth, much better than I realized actually, as a Quiver Dance sweeper. In middle tiers of early generations, ever since it got Quiver Dance, it shot up dramatically. Before that though, it was very bad, of course. It's also kind of a gross bug. I don't really like it. It freaks me out, a giant moth. I'd like it to leave if possible. Up next is Kleavor, who has a lot of positive attributes. Kleavor has a great attack stat of 135, an okay speed of 85, it can sort of be a wall breaker. It's got the great offensive ability Sharpness, which grants a 1.5x damage boost to slicing based moves, which includes X Scissor, a bug stab option. And Kleavor's most noteworthy attribute is its access to the move Stone Axe, which is an excellent attack. This is a move with 65 power that sets Stealth Rock on the field as well, which is incredibly powerful. Stealth Rock is strong on its own, but this is an attack that sets Stealth Rock. Plus, it also gets boosted by Sharpness, since it is a slicing attack, and boy is that powerful. Unfortunately, Kleavor came out in Gen 9 when Stealth Rock felt much worse due to the rise of boots. Although setting Stealth Rock and attacking at the same time is strong, Kleavor tends to die quickly and is generally not as good as other Stealth Rock setters in OU like Gliscor or Great Tusk or Clodsire, who are defensively strong and can stick around longer or are more useful in terms of their utility, like Great Tusk with its rapid spin. Kleavor is paling in comparison to these Pokemon with its bug rock typing and the fact that it's walled easily, and it doesn't even do much damage oftentimes with the Stone Axe that sets Stealth Rock and just dies quickly afterwards. That being said, Kleavor is good in RU, which is a higher rank than many bugs have ever achieved. Most thought that this would be a much better Pokemon though, when it was first revealed, due to the incredible hype surrounding an attack that sets Stealth Rock, which just sounds completely insane. But in practice, it was not very good, actually, due to Cleaver being kind of awkward at taking full advantage of such a thing. A great move in a vacuum, though, would be probably preferred over Stealth Rock if you had the option between the two, much of the time. Up next is Axelgor, who I think has an awesome visual, very cool Pokemon, and a pretty interesting Pokemon. It's a mono bug type with ludicrous speed. It has 145 base speed and an okay 100 base special attack too. Axelgor is also notable for its access to spikes and is one of the fastest spike setters in the game. It's like a Deoxys Speed Jr. with its ability to set spikes quickly. This is a genuine reason to use the guy. Axelgor actually has a niche in Gen 5 Ubers as a result of this. It starts out slower than Deoxys Speed, but if it procs the ability Unburden, which grants double speed on held item loss, then it even outruns Deoxys Speed and can threaten it with Bug Buzz, which is kind of incredible. Plus it's a spike setter. Actually pretty good in Gen 5 Ubers. Axelgor also generally pretty decent in various middle tiers. Thanks to its higher speed, access to spikes, and pretty good special attack. Its speed control, utility, pivoting. It's got some stuff going for it. It's pretty one-dimensional though. Mono bug, not the best offensive typing. Its move pool is pretty shallow in terms of attacks. It's mostly just clicking Bug Buzz, and Bug Buzz is not the most amazing move of all time to rely on. It's good stab, but you do need other things, usually, to be that great. So Axelgor is not amazing or anything, but it's interesting, it's unique, and I like it. And it can achieve more value than you would expect. Up next we've got Durant, the funny ant. An ant made of solid steel, another bug steel type, which we've established is a great type combo. And Durant is actually fast. It has 109 speed, which is really good. It also has a pretty good attack stat of 109 and a good defense stat of 112. So Durant is a cut above Escavalier, although its bulk is not as good overall. That good speed stat is doing a lot, as well as a serviceable attack stat considering. And Durant also has the Gambler's ability of Hustle. Hustle grants a 1.5x attack boost, which is massive, at the cost of an accuracy decrease. The accuracy decrease is bad, obviously, but the attack boost makes Durant that much scarier. And Durant also has access to the move First Impression, which is a great bug-type priority move, as we've established. Durant's physical move pool is also solid. Iron Head for stabs, Super Power for fighting coverage, Rock Slide as well for further coverage, and a flinch chance. So even though you're leaving things up to chance a little bit with the accuracy decrease on many of these moves, Durant is frightening. And it's a pretty good mid-tier physical attacker. Very impressive stuff from a mere ant, who most would think that they could step on and defeat in a single hit, but this is an ant with a metal coating. It is prepared for your attempts on his life. He will come out on top and defeat you. This is not an ant to be messed with. Up next is Galvantula, Electric Spider. I like this one. Galvantula is cool because it is a sticky web setter. Yet another one. Except Galvantula is a sticky web setter that actually has a speed stat. This guy's got 108 speed, which is pretty fast, so it can set sticky web quickly. On top of that, Galvantula has the good ability Compound Eyes for increased accuracy, and it has the great combination of Compound Eyes and Thunder. So Thunder becomes a good move without having to have Rain up, because the accuracy of 70 is increased. And Thunder is a great move with a high power and a 30% para chance. So Galvantula is actually a genuinely good sticky web setter. It can set sticky web quickly, and then threaten the enemy with this high damage Thunder. It can Volt Switch out as well. It does have a pretty low special attack of only 97, but that's good enough to hit hard with Thunder still. And overall, a pretty solid special attacking sticky web setter. How smart is that? Up next is Heracross, who I consider one of the coolest bug types. Heracross is fun because in my favorite tier of Gen 3, it is ranked OU and it is very good as a wall breaker. It has the high damage move Mega Horn, which was once an unusually high power move. To have 120 power on a physical move was rare back then, so that was a real claim to fame. Plus, it is a bug fighting type, which is actually a pretty nice type combo. You cancel out your rock weakness and are neutral to rock, which is always useful. And Heracross has the ability Guts, which is a very good ability. If statist, you gain an attack boost, and you're also not affected by the usual detriment of Burn, which is very good. Heracross has a great physical move pool, with more options in its moveset later in the franchise. It's got close combat, knockoff, stone edge, all sorts of things. Not only does it have guts, it has moxie as well as another option, which you'll remember from Pincer, grants an attack boost on every KO with an attack that this Pokemon achieves. A damn solid early game wall breaker, kind of a improvement on Pincer honestly, with a superior typing and similar stats but just way better. Heracross is not feeling that great in modern day though, more of an early generation thriver, OU in Gens 2 and 3, but still solid throughout the years as a mid-tier wall breaker that has aged fairly well, all things considered. And I do forgive Heracross for that one time that he invaded my home and killed me instantly with his swarm-boosted Megahorn. I have recovered from the trauma of that day, and I forgive you, Heracross, for all you've done to me, and the despair you've caused me. It's alright. You were just doing what you had to do. I understand that now. Up next is Ninjask. Goodness gracious, it's Ninjask. Ninjask is known for its ludicrous speed of base 160, plus the ability Speed Boost for further speed. And Ninjask is also infamous as one of the main criminals behind Baton Pass teams. Baton Pass is a move in Pokemon that allows you to switch to an ally and maintain all of your boosts. And Ninjask, of course, has Speed Boost, which grants it a +1 speed increase every single turn. This makes Ninjask the most reliable speed passer in the game, and it has been the cornerstone of many broken strategies throughout history. In Gen 3 in particular, where Baton Pass is still legal, Ninjask has been used throughout various rule sets to break the game in some way. And in later generations, Ninjask was still an incredible abuser of this speed boost Baton Pass combo. It could go to Espeon, who has Magic Bounce, can prevent Whirlwind and Roar from taking effect. Baton Pass chains are incredibly broken in singles. Ninjask is often the most important piece of the puzzle, because the speed is how you get everything going and you rack up every boost in the game and sweep teams without any interaction. So I would give Ninjask some credit for its game-breaking capabilities, but I would also detract some points for its underhanded nature and its criminal activity and moral failure. Frankly, the moral failure of Ninjask is a big blight on his character. Beyond the speed pass stuff, it's a pretty bad Pokemon, actually, despite having such high speed. It has limited offensive tools and is easily stopped. But if Baton Pass is legal, suddenly this becomes one of the best Pokemon in the game. Up next is Yanmega. Yanmega is interesting, because it has two good offensive abilities. Speed Boost, which we've just talked about, which raises speed every turn, and Tinted Lens, which we've also discussed. Double damage against not very effective targets. Yanmega can make good use of both of these abilities in various generations, and has an actual solid special attack stat of 116. This is a damn high special attack stat for a Tinted Lens user, making Yanmega a real wall breaker. I think its best set would be Choice Specs Tinted Lens due to the spammable nature of its bug and flying stat as a result of Tinted Lens. It's also pretty fast with 95 base speed, and it even gets U-turn to pivot out. It's not OU level, but it's pretty powerful, especially in the middle tiers. Up next is Shedinja, who is one of the most unique Pokemon in the whole series, with an incredibly interesting gimmick. Shedinja has only a single point of HP, so any source of damage whatsoever will instantly KO Shedinja. However, Shedinja has the best ability in the whole game, Wonder Guard, which grants an immunity to all attacks that are not super effective. Only super effective attacks can deal damage to Shedinja, meaning it is immune to water and electric and ground and various types, actually. This is what makes Shedinja usable, because it can actually hard wall certain Pokemon. Most famously, Shedinja can wall Kyogre. Kyogre usually relies on water and ice type attacks, which Shedinja is immune to both of. Shedinja doesn't really do much when it's in. It can select Will-O-Wisp to spread burn. And it is pretty easy to KO. If it's not carrying boots, it will die to an entry hazard. A simple spike will kill it. It can die to Sandstorm if it doesn't have the safety goggles. It can also die to poison or burn or leech seed or any source of indirect damage whatsoever. So it's very easy to KO, but the fact that it stonewalls certain things is valuable. And if you can keep hazards off the field, Shedinja has a niche in Ubers in many generations due to the fact that it walls Kyogre and certain Dialga sets, certain Mewtwo sets if they're not carrying fire coverage. Actually walls quite a lot of Uber's Pokemon. I think Shedinja is deserving respect for its incredibly unique gimmick that can sometimes be insanely overpowered in the right circumstance. Much of the time Shedinja is terrible and dies very easily, but in the right circumstance, it might just be the defensive piece you need to thrive. Up next is Scolipede. Scolipede is interesting. In Gen 6 they gave this guy speed boost, which was a big deal. And Scolipede actually became a better version of Ninjask, because it also had the speed boost baton pass combo. So, in the right circumstance, Scolipede is one of the most broken things imaginable, with the ability to speed pass and create infinite baton pass chains. Baton pass is of course banned in most generations though, but beyond just that, Scolipede is also pretty decent as a spikes setter with speed boost that also attacks with pretty good damage. It has a solid 100 base attack, access to Poison Jab and Earthquake, Mega Horn, pretty good physical move pool. Plus it has Endeavor, so if it's hit down to its sash, it can Endeavor you, bring you to the same health, bring you to 1 HP, and actually trade very well. It's a pretty good spike setting lead, thanks to this combination of speed boost and Endeavor. It can outrun almost anything, bring it down to its level, and trade up while making hazards. Pretty powerful. Pretty respectable. Up next is Mega Beedrill. Beedrill's Mega Evolution significantly buffs the Pokemon. This is the most min-maxed of all Mega Evolutions, with all of its stats being funneled into attack and speed very efficiently. With an incredible 150 base attack and 145 base speed, Beedrill Mega is actually a frightening Pokemon. This guy also gets the new ability, Adaptability, for further stab damage on its bug and poison type attacks. Mega Beedrill is a good physical attacker, unfortunately not quite OU level though, largely because there are better Mega evolvable physical attackers in OU like Lopunny. And Mega Beedrill's rock weakness is a big problem in Gens 6 and 7. Also, it is very easily walled by Landorus Therian, who is the most common Pokemon in the game, and various other common physical walls. Bug and Poison are not the most fantastic offensive types in the world. But that's for the OU landscape. Mega Beedrill is ranked UU in Gen 6 and 7, and it's very good there. And in this bug ranking, I think a UU rating is very impressive among bugs, and it's a big upgrade from the terrible base form Beedrill. Up next, Araquanid. Perhaps I'm overrating it a bit, but I would give Araquanid some real respect as one of the strongest sticky web setters in the game. Araquanid is also, I think, a great Pokemon design all around. One of the most artistically impressive bugs. This is a water bug type. Its stats aren't the best, but it does have a noteworthy 132 special defense, which is very good. It has Sticky Web, of course, and it has the ability Water Bubble, which is an incredible ability. Water power is doubled. The power of water type attacks is doubled. And this guy is also immune to burn and resistant to fire all in one. It's a ability that does multiple things. Very strong ability. That means, even with only 50 special attack, Surf will deal considerable damage due to Water Bubble doubling the damage. Araquanid was for a time OU ranked due to its excellence as a sticky web setter in Gen 9 OU, with that incredible base special defense meaning it could live most incoming hits from special attackers and set sticky web. And then even get further value from Kustap Berry, often being hit into range of this berry. Kustap Berry means that your next move operates first in its priority bracket. So you can set Sticky Web and then utilize Endeavor or Surf to get further value out of the Araquanid. And what's nice about Surf compared to a physical attack like Liquidation is that it would hit a lot of things in Gen 9 OU much harder than a physical attack would. Like Great Tusk, who has high defense but low special defense, Iron Treads as well, and of course Gliscor. Landorus Therian has also been on the rise in Gen 9 OU, so Surf hits that much harder too. And I still think Araquanid is one of the strongest sticky web setters in the game, even if it has fallen out of OU rank. Up next is Ribombee, who I believe is a premier sticky web setter. A little bit better than Araquanid overall. Ribombee is a bug fairy type. The secondary fairy typing is very beneficial, offensively and defensively. Ribombee is quite fast as well with a 124 base speed, meaning it can set sticky web very quickly. Rabombi also has Stab Moonblast off the back of 95 special attack, which is not bad at all. This directly threatens Great Tusk, and in Ubers this also threatens Koraidon, which is why Rabombi is the most popular sticky web setter in Gen 9 Ubers. On top of that, Rabombi also gets Stun Spore for further value after setting Sticky Web, which actually is pretty impactful. Shield Dust can also come in handy. This was cool in Gen 9 RU because it would make Rabombi immune to Mortal Spin's poison effect and allow Rabombi to defeat Glimora in a 1v1. It also got Psychic Noise in Gen 9, a great new option for a Psychic type special attack that hits Glimora and also denies healing on various things like Clodsire. Overall, just a very good sticky web setter that is reliable and powerful at what it does. Up next is Shuckle. I'm giving Shuckle significant respect today because I believe it is the best sticky web setter. Shuckle is very good at setting sticky web on the field. It has the ability Sturdy, which means it can never die from full HP, it would always survive at 1 HP. And this gives it a free safety net with which to select sticky web. But on top of that, this means that you don't have to spend your damn item slot on a focus sash and you can run a mental herb. And with the mental herb, you are immune to the effects of taunt once. The mental herb will be consumed upon being taunted, but taunt can often stop sticky web setters, but not Shuckle, who has the powerful mental fortress of his mind with which to counteract a mere taunting gesture. Shuckle is much smarter than this, and brings a herb to battle. So mental clarity, extremely smart. So Shuckle is very good at that. It also has incredible defenses, of course, meaning that it often isn't even hit down to 1. It can survive multiple hits against a lot of things, meaning that it can also set Stealth Rock. And Shuckle also gets the other really good hazard of Stealth Rock, plus it gets the utility of Encore to force opponents to do stupid things. And Infestation is also useful to trap enemies temporarily. If you're up against something that can't threaten Shuckle very much, why not set both of your hazards against it and then Encore, and then with the combo of Encore and Infestation, you have a guaranteed powerful switch in, don't you? That's strong. Shuckle is not in Gen 9, but I think if it was, it would probably once again be the premier sticky web setter. Not that Rabombi or Araquanid would lack merit, but I think Shuckle would be more consistent overall than both of them, with its high defenses, sturdy, and the ability to hold that powerful mental herb. Up next is Slither Wing, the new past paradox form of Volcarona, who is very beautiful and fluffy, and I value Slither Wing quite a bit. I think it's a pretty good design. This is a bug fighting type Pokemon, as a more physically leaning Pokemon than Volcarona, with a 135 attack stat, and a pretty good special defense for a physical attacker of 105. Slither Wing has the ability Photosynthesis, as do all the Paradox past Pokemon, which gives it access to the booster energy and also a boost if Sun is active to its highest stat. Slither Wing has a good attacking move pool. It has First Impression for a great bug stab priority option. That's Close Combat, which is excellent as U-turn for pivoting. It has Leech Life for healing, Earthquake for ground coverage. Slither Wing is good. Unfortunately, Gen 9 is a very competitive environment, so Slither Wing is not ranked OU. It has some competition in the department of bulky fighting types with, of course, Great Tusk, but also Okidogi and Iron Hands. But I think Slither Wing still has niches in OU, and is a very good Pokemon in the UU tier of Gen 9, which is highly respectable. Up next is Mega Pinsir. Mega Pinsir is a very cool Mega, a massive upgrade from its base form. Mega Pinsir gains a flying typing. It has significant stat increases, especially to its attack, which is now 155. Also gets a pretty damn good defense increase up to 120, and a considerable speed increase too, up to 105. And Pinsir also gains the new ability Aerolate, which is an amazing ability that converts normal type attacks into flying type attacks, and then also gives them a power boost, allowing Mega Pinsir to use an incredibly powerful Stab Return that becomes flying type and is even stronger than normal Return. Mega Pinsir also gets Quick Attack that turns into a flying type attack with even higher power than regular Quick Attack. This is excellent, and it means that Mega Pinsir is a great wall breaker in Gen 6 and 7 OU. It's extremely powerful flying type physical stab, which is a hard stab type to come by. Very strong physical attacking type that doesn't usually have moves this powerful available to it. A strong stab move with no drawback and a priority option as well. Now, the drawback of Mega Pinsir is that it is bug flying, which is very vulnerable to stealth rock, and is just defensively not very good in general. That makes Mega Pinsir a little bit difficult to use sometimes, less consistent than some other Megas, but it is undeniably a very good Mega. Ranked OU in Gen 6, and I believe UUBL in Gen 7. Up next is Mega Heracross, who I'm ranking above Mega Pinsir. A lot of people may disagree with that. I think Mega Heracross is a bit better. Mega Heracross maintains its bug fighting typing and gains the new ability Skill Link, which causes multi-hit attacks to always hit the maximum number of times, a very good offensive ability. Mega Heracross also receives an insane attack boost up to 185, which is extraordinarily high. One of the highest attack stats in the whole game. Now, its speed is only 75, and that's a big drawback for Heracross. But I believe it to be better than Mega Pinsir because it is not as vulnerable to Stealth Rock with a typing that is neutral to Rock. The typing is generally a little bit better defensively, and I think that makes Mega Heracross a bit more consistent. Its Skill Link Pin Missile is also powerful. You could also use Mega Heracross in Gen 7 alongside Tapu Bulu with Bullet Seed, which was boosted by Grassy Terrain. And that is a strong option too. I think it's an excellent wall breaker and a powerful Pokemon. Up next, I'm gonna say Forretress, the basketball himself. And this is a bit of a legacy rating, because Forretress is more of an early gen superstar, but I think Forretress is deserving of respect for being OU ranked from generations 2 to 5. 4 straight generations of OU ranking, and then being pretty solid after that too. Forretress is a classic defensive utility Pokemon. It has the Bug Steel typing, which is amazing. It is only weak to fire and has many valued resistances. Forretress also has a fantastic 140 defense stat and a usable 75 HP. And Forretress has so much great utility. It has Stealth Rock, a powerful entry hazard. It has Spikes, of course. Another powerful entry hazard is Rapid Spin to remove enemy hazards from the field. It has Volt Switch to pivot out. In Gen 3 and 4, it also had Explosion. Well, it still has it, but in Gen 3 and 4, Explosion was more powerful. In modern gens, it doesn't really use this, but this was an incredible option in those generations. The only real reason Forretress started to decline in usage is because Ferrothorn came into existence, and Ferrothorn was kind of just power-crept Forretress. They're not exactly the same, but Ferrothorn is generally the better Pokemon. Forretress does have some merit over Ferrothorn in Gen 5 OU though, as Forretress has access to Overcoat, which crucially makes it immune to hail damage, meaning Forretress can be used on hail teams as a defensive steel type to patch up certain type vulnerabilities they can have. Forretress also has Rapid Spin and Volt Switch, which Ferrothorn does not. Forretress can pivot and remove hazards. These are options that Ferrothorn lacks. I think it's overall just a really good defensive utility Pokemon with an incredible career. Even though he's only a little basketball or perhaps a golf ball, he's achieved such incredible heights. A slam dunk. Up next, I'm going to say Lokix. I think Lokix is extremely good. Lokix is a new Pokemon in Gen 9 OU and is a Bug Dark type Pokemon. Lokix has pretty bad stats, only 102 attack, not great by Gen 9 standards, and a pretty low speed of 92, plus terrible bulk. But Lokix has the amazing ability Tinted Lens. And this is the first ever physically leaning Tinted Lens user, and it's probably the best Tinted Lens user of all time. Tinted Lens, of course, an amazing ability that doubles damage against not very effective targets. And Lokix has 2 great stab types with which to abuse this ability. Lokix has First Impression for that straightforward, powerful priority move, a great hit and run option. It has U-turn to pivot. It even has Leech Life for a bug stab option that heals. It also has great dark type attacks like Knock Off, perhaps the best physical attack in the game, at least among ones that are generally available. The item removal, the high damage, and the fact that resistances will still be taking a lot means that Lokix has some of the most spammable attacks ever. Yes, its attack is only 102, but with a Choice Band equipped and Tinted Lens, meaning that resistances don't matter anymore, Lokix can rack up some serious damage. The priority comes in handy all the time, especially because it doesn't matter if the enemy resists it. This is such a great priority option when it bypasses resistances. You can pivot without worrying about resistances, knock off items. Lokix is so great in Gen 9 OU at achieving progress. Such a great Pokemon to support with pivots. A slow pivot into low kicks is just guaranteed value of some sort. Low kicks is an absolute titan of UU, and it has solid OU viability. And I think if this existed in any past gen, it would be insanely strong, probably OU ranked. So I would give low kicks an immense amount of respect for being very powerful and also a cool Pokemon design, I think. A good tinted lens user that deals reliable, safe damage, but also doesn't feel OP. Its stats are pretty modest, in fact. It's just powerful due to consistency of its damage output. Up next is Scizor, the most classic competitive bug type ever. An icon of competitive and probably the first Pokemon that comes to mind when you think of the bug type in competitive. Scizor is a bug steel type, which is of course a great combo, as we've established. And Scizor is a very offensively leaning Pokemon with its high 130 physical attack stat. Scizor received in Gen 4 a massive buff, the ability Technician, which causes moves with 60 power or less to have 1.5x power. This was incredible because it meant that Bullet Punch now had a massive power increase, Bug Bite had a power increase, and Scizor's fantastic stab priority option here, as well as all of its other great tools, were a real recipe for success. Scizor is a very strong Pokemon in Gen 4 OU and Gen 5 OU, and also reasonably powerful in Gens 6 and 7 as well. Its physical move pool is excellent, with of course Bullet Punch, U-Turn, Knockoff, Close Combat. It even has some utility with access to Roost and Defog. Just one of the strongest and most consistent bug types ever. Unfortunately, it has sort of fallen off in modern generations. Not quite as powerful as it once was. Still solid though, it had a bit of time in Gen 9 OU recently as a response to Kyurem, because of course the powerful super effective Bullet Punch was very good against Kyurem, and Scizor had a resistance to ice and a neutrality to earth power, meaning it was good in that matchup. And it is still good for that purpose, even if it's not OU by usage anymore. A very strong and honest Pokemon, and a beloved Pokemon for good reason. Up next is Buzzwole, who is visually speaking one of the most insane Pokemon ever made, but undeniably very good. Buzzwole is one of the Ultra Beasts, which means it has the ability Beast Boost. An incredible ability that causes your highest stat to be raised if you attack and KO another Pokemon. Buzzwole's stats are fantastic, on the physical side anyway, with a solid HP of 107, a great defense of 139, and the very same value in its attack. Its speed is also pretty good considering, 79. Buzzwole has Roost for straightforward healing, a fantastic physical move pool, options like Close Combat, Drain Punch, Ice Punch, Earthquake, all the coverage you could want really, and inherent scaling from the Beast Boost. Buzzwole can be used as a defensive wall, a physical wall breaker with Choice Band, a boost sweeper with Bulk Up, and is great at all of these things. It's particularly good in Gen 8 OU, where it was one of the strongest Pokemon in that format. In Gen 7, it's ranked UUBL, not the most popular of the Ultra Beasts there, but still with valuable niche uses in that format too. Up next is Mega Scizor, one of the most popular Megas in Gens 6 and 7 OU. And one of the most consistent ones. Just a really solid Pokemon with that great bug steel typing. All the same advantages that Scizor has, but much higher stats. This is just Scizor with higher stats. And turns out that's a really good idea, huh? Giving a guy that's already good even better stats? That sure is a powerful idea. Mega Scizor has a 150 base attack, a great 140 defense, well-balanced 100 in its special defense too. And the Pokemon's versatile. You can use it as a Swords Dance win condition with Bullet Punch and Roost. You can run it as a defensive Pokemon with U-Turn and Defog. It is most commonly used as a win condition with Swords Dance, while also doubling as a defensive pivot that checks a lot of things. It's simple, but it's undeniably effective and has a very high win rate and a very high usage. Up next is Volcarona, one of the most infamous Pokemon in competitive history. Volcarona debuted in Gen 5 OU, where it was immediately a monstrous Quiver Dance sweeper. This is the king of all Quiver Dance sweepers. With its actual stats, it has a great 135 special attack, a good 105 special defense as well, and a high speed of base 100. Volcarona has a reputation for being able to win in a single turn. If it Quiver Dances, it often outruns and threatens to KO absolutely everything. And Volcarona has only gotten better and better over the years. Of course, benefiting greatly from the addition of heavy-duty boots, which patches up the main weakness of its bug fire typing. One of the things keeping Volcarona in check was its massive weakness to rock, ×4 weakness that meant it lost half its HP when it switched in. But now with the boots, it can patch that up. It was good even with a ×4 rock weakness, which is saying a lot. That's usually enough to make a Pokemon irrelevant. But Volcarona made up for it. And now without that weakness, it's much better. And of course in Gen 9, it became too powerful. With the ability to terrestrialize, it could overcome its last weakness, which was all of the types that hit it super effectively. It could become a good neutral type like Water or Fairy, Quiver Dance until the cows came home, and then destroy everything with little counterplay. Volcarona in Gen 9 is completely insane, not to mention Terra Blast being able to patch up its type weaknesses and hit things like Clodsire and Skeledirge that were apparently hard counters, but Volcarona could power through those too. It even has a good ability, by the way, Flame Body, which inflicts burn on contact 30% of the time. So while you're trying to hit this thing, you might burn yourself and reduce your chances to 0. It's always frustrating to get Flame Body burned against Volcarona every single time. It feels as if this little bastard is getting away with it again every time it happens. Perhaps one of the strongest boost sweepers of all time, Volcarona. Among regular Pokemon anyway. Volcarona gives many legendaries a run for its money, and its sheer game-ending power. Up next, the second best bug type of all time is Pheromosa. Pheromosa is an insanely powerful Ultra Beast, with the same typing as Buzzwole actually, but a far more aggressive lean and some incredible stats. It has 137 in both its attack and special attack, making it an excellent mixed attacker. And its speed is incredibly high, with base 151. Pheromosa is giving off some shades of Deoxys here, with its incredible speed and offensive stats but low defenses. But it sets itself apart from Deoxys with its bug-fighting typing, and its great move pool as well. Pheromosa has Stab U-Turn, Throat Chop for dark coverage, some good special attacks like Ice Beam. Low Kick is great in Ubers, where everything is extremely heavy. And of course, Pheromosa has Beast Boost like all the other Ultra Beasts, granting a bonus to its highest stat if it achieves a KO, which in this case will be Speed. So if it gets a KO, it becomes even faster, and Speed Control will no longer work against it, allowing it to snowball to an insane extent. Pheromosa is an extremely powerful bug. I recall a time where this was legal in OU, and it was absolutely horrible to play. This thing was so overpowered. And number one on the list, the most powerful bug type of all time, I would give it to Genesect. It's actually kind of close between Genesect and Pheromosa, but I would personally give it to Genesect. This is another bug steel type, which is not surprising for the best bug Pokemon to be a bug steel type. Steel is the best type to have alongside bug. Genesect is also a mixed attacker with 120 in both of its offensive stats. It has a pretty good 99 base speed, but Genesect is a bit bulkier than Pheromosa. Significantly bulkier actually, I should say, with 95 in its defenses, 71 in HP, and just a typing that is better defensively too. That's what makes it better than Pheromosa in my mind, is the superior defenses. Genesect can actually switch into the field, and it can also make up for its poor speed with a Choice Scarf, which is the most common way to run it. Genesect also has the great offensive ability Download, which grants an attack or special attack boost depending on the foe's weaker defense stat. So if they have a lower defense, you gain attack, and the same with special attack and special defense. A great ability that just always gives Genesect the relevant boost it needs and allows it to be a great mixed attacker. It has a very high damage U-Turn, which is fantastic. It has a great move pool, Ice Beam, Flamethrower for special coverage. It has Iron Head for physical stab. You can even run Explosion on this, which hits pretty hard after a physical download boost, even if Explosion is nerfed post Gen 5. Genesect is a powerful Pokemon, and I quite like its design as well. I like that Download works with both of its offensive stats, and it has the move pool to support that. It's a well-designed and functional mixed attacker that generally just feels well-rounded and solid with its strong defensive typing and decent bulk as well. And that's it, folks, a ranking of every single fully evolved bug in the game. Happy Bug Month, everybody. What's your favorite sort of bug? I would personally go with the ant. I find the ant very admirable. It's hardworking, and it puts the collective above its individual desires. I think we can all be more like the ant. for the remainder of this bug month. But what about you folks? Let me know down below in the comments, and thank you for watching.